has to be a foundation, and the foundation is the truth. And I think a lot of times I've had this image in my head of a medieval puppet. And if you're not a nerd like me, this won't make sense. But back then they would do these shows with these like rag puppets, right, on sticks, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm this," and they're standing behind a stage and entertaining the masses. And sometimes I feel like we do that with Jesus. We make this puppet and we change it and we call it trans, or we call it inclusive. By the way, I'll get to that in a second. Not telling someone that something is wrong doesn't mean you don't love them, or whatever else it is, right? And we have this puppet and we just spray paint a little tag that says Jesus on it, and that's what a lot of people are worshiping. It's their own mix of different things to create their own God. And you can't do that, because the bottom line is, even if that makes you happy on this earth, this is what's so crazy about, or so honestly, it's comforting. The God of the Bible tells us what is true and what isn't. And if you put your faith in a rags and stick puppet, then when judgment comes, there's no one that saved you, because that puppet doesn't have the power. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. It's just a puppet.
So it's crazy, man. I don't know. It's crazy stuff to me. Both logically and as a believer.
Absolutely. And like you said,
Not that those should be independent, because they're not. You can be logical and be a believer. I'm saying for those out there that are like, "Whoa, I don't believe, so it doesn't matter what Jesus said." Okay, well, even logically, you can't change the definition of something and then still say that that's what you're following.
well, right. And like you said, people get caught up in picking and choosing, and like you said, they pick and choose so they can defer to their happiness.
That's good, yeah.
And when that happens, it's kind of like what that article just said, right? Even with like just pointing out like the fact that like millennials, like how we're more often to say, yes, we are the success is in our happiness, and so we're going to start creating our own truths instead of following the truth. And I don't know, man, it's deep, dude.